Well, praise the Lord on this first day of the week. And as I was listening to the prophecy that this young man was giving, and all of a sudden, the Lord spoke to me very strongly when he was speaking about Esau and Jacob. And so he said, go read the parable of the lost son. Some of you may not agree with me, but that's all right. But this is what he revealed to me, what's going on over in the Middle East right now. And why there is going to be such a major war that's going to come up, and it's going to come up against Israel. Now, in Luke 15, beginning with verse 11, let's begin to read. He says, a certain man had 2 sons. Okay, 2 sons. Let's go over here to Genesis 25, beginning with verse 19, because I'm going to be flipping back and forth, okay? And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel and the Senarian of, that word, P-A-D-A-N-A-R-A-M, the sister to Laban, the S-Y-R-I-A-N. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. See, Rebekah couldn't bear any children. So the Lord was entreated of him and broke his wife confidence. And his wife conceived. I'm sorry. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I this? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy belly. The one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Well, kind of like Ishmael and Isaac. Same thing. Okay, just passed down. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And they first came out red all over like the hairy garment, and they called him Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Esau was 80 years old when she bore them. Jacob was, and Esau was 80 years old when she bore them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter and a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And Isaac, now just notice this, Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob sawed porridge, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with the same red portion, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. This is Edom. This is the Palestinians over there, the Hamas. Over there, the brother of Israel. Kin. And Ishmael said, behold, I am at the point of death. Oh, wait a minute, let's go back. see, I am faint. Therefore his name was Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. See, the older son had the birthright. That's the way it went in Hebrew. The elder son always had the birthright. The elder son birthright, which was more of a portion than the younger son. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to death, and what profit shall the birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore to him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. And Jacob gave Esau bread and portion of lentils, and he did eat and drank, and rose up and went his way. Thus Ishmael despised his birthright. Okay? Let's go back to the story of the lost son. So, a certain man had 2 sons. Isaac had 2 sons. And the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods and that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his living. So, in this parable, lining up with this, the father gave his inheritance that would have been to the younger son, Jacob, and the older son sold his birthright to the younger. And so, in a way, Father, just let me word this right. In a way, we're talking about Israel wanted their portion of the inheritance. And not many days after that, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country. There wasted his substance with riotous living. Israel was always prone to go to the other man's religion. And what would happen to Israel? Babylon come in and captured them, burned the temple, and took them into a foreign country. The last adventure was after Yeshua's death. Rome come in, burnt the temple, and drove them to the 4 corners of the world. And while they went out to the 4 corners of the world, did they keep doing what God had commanded them? No, they fell into the desires and followed after pagan gods in foreign countries. I know it's hard to understand to line this up because really Israel, Jacob, did not do what he was supposed to do. He throwed away everything when he was driven into other countries to come down to their living. They were punished. They were abandoned. A man named Hitler come along and put them in concentration camps and really killed 6 million Jews. Some people say, oh no, that didn't happen. Excuse me. If that didn't happen, then history needs to be rewritten. It's in history books. I've studied it. And so therefore, some of my people that died in the concentration camps because they were Jews didn't die? Excuse me. And why did they have to die? Because of their riotous living, that they would keep the ordinance of the law in a way, but yet they still was rebellious against God. When it's rebellion, when you become rebellious against God, something's going to happen. So this young man, what happened when he spent all his substance? And a famine, it says, when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in the land, and he began to be in want. Well, believe me, they were in want in Germany when they were being killed and tortured. And he would fan and have filled his belly with husk. I want to see. And he went and joined himself to the citizens of the country, and he sent into his field to feed the swine. And so they sent him out to feed the swine. And he would fan and have filled his belly with the husk that the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him. That's exactly what happened in Germany to Israelites, to the Jews. Let's put it down, to the Jews. And when he come to himself, how many hard servants of my father have bread enough to spare, and I perish with hunger? Well, they began to wake up over there in the concentration camps, and many were rescued when America come through, and they found them there, starved to death, skin and bones, looked like dead men walking, and women and children. So I will arise and go to my father's house, and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no more worthy to be called a son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. So the nations of the world gathered them up like a father would gather their child, and gave them their land back in Israel. I mean, the world knew, anyone that read the Bible knew where they had to go when they brought them out of Germany. What, America? No. That's not their land that God gave to them. Africa? No, that's not their land they gave to them. They were sent back to the land that was given to them by the Father. And he arose and came to the Father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. When Israel was coming back to the promised land, believe me, they found great favor from the Father. And the Father began to bless them by blessing the land. And the land began to bloom and produce because they were coming back home. And the son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said unto his servants, Bring forth the best robes, put it on him, and put a ring on his hand, and shoes on his feet. Israel was given the land back for this part of the prophecy to see it happen. When Yeshua comes back again to rule and reign, you will see this happen to Israel. You people that don't like that, you people that hates us Jews, you people say that it's not going to happen, it's going to happen. And he said, Bring forth Bring hither the fatted calf and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. What will happen? He will bring forth the red heifer one more time to be killed. Because that's prophesied over in Isaiah. It's prophesied over there. For this my son was dead and is alive again, and he was lost and is found. And they begin to be merry and rejoice. When Yeshua comes back and he puts the best robes on Israel once more, and he puts the ring upon her hand and shoes upon their feet in the glorious procession that will happen, and the red heifer is brought forth and killed, the blood saved and the meat eaten at the great feast that will happen over there, the words will be spoken. My son was lost, but now is found, was dead, and is alive again. A nation that was brought forth from Abraham's body. A nation that was brought forth from Egypt to go into the promised land that God promised them. Will once again see that glorious day over there with the true blessings of Yahweh, blessing his youngest son again. And there will be great merriment. But what happened? When did Israel come back? And now the elder son was in the field, and as he came and drew nigh to this house, he heard the music and dancing. And he called one of the servants and asked what this thing meant. And he said unto him, the brother is come. Thy father hath killed the fatted calf, because he hath received him safe and sound. Who did he say this to? He said this to Ishmael. You see, the Palestinians were over there in Jerusalem. They had control of Israel at that point. But when the countries said, we're going to give that land, the temple, that land that had Jerusalem and the Temple Mount in it, we're going to give it back to Israel, because that's prophesied in the Bible. I mean, they didn't so much say that, but that's what they meant. And we're going to it's their land. It's been their land all along, but they were driven off of it. They were taken away. They were over there in foreign countries for around almost, 2,000 years. So the older brother, Ishmael, that's living over there, working the fields, which don't produce anything for them because they're not the promised people, get angry. I mean, really. It says, he was angry and would not go in. Therefore come his father out to entreat him. So Ishmael, Jacob's brother, kin to Israel, seeing this nation of people come back to the land they considered was theirs. But they really had no right to get angry, because they had already sold their birthright to Jacob when their forefather Ishmael sold it to Jacob many years ago. Now, I won't read the whole story. I mean, go over and read, 26 and chapter 26, where it tells about how You know, Ishmael goes out out to slay some meat, and cause you know he's wanting to get his birthright. I mean he's wanting to get his blessing, the main blessing from the father before the father died, because he was the elder son. He had already sold his birthright, but he wanted that blessing that the father was supposed to give him, because being the elder son. So Isaac says, well, you go out and kill me venison, and you fix it the way I like it, and then I'll give you my birthright. Your blessing. You couldn't re-give him the birthright because he'd already sold it to Jacob, which was the line of Israel, which was the line of Jews that would come up. So when Israel comes back, the line of Ishmael that's over there gets all bent out of shape. It says, and he was angry and would not come in. Therefore came his father out and entreated him. And he said, answering, said to his father, Lo, these many years do I serve thee? Of course, they serve the wrong God. I'm sorry, they serve Allah, because they did not hold true to the laws of God, Yahweh, the laws of Jacob, their father, and Rebekah, their mother. Why? Because Ishmael, even though after Jacob ran, after he stole the blessing of the elder son, and Ishmael got all bent out of shape and would have killed him if he hadn't ran down into his kin where he met his wife. If he hadn't ran and hid, Ishmael would have killed him, and then there would have been no Israel. But Rebekah was smart enough to talk to her husband, Isaac, and they sent him away to keep him from being killed. And Ishmael stayed there with his mother and daddy, but the problem was he wasn't an obedient son. He went out and married all the women that they weren't supposed to marry, and he knew that. He polluted his line because Ishmael was kin to Isaac's older brother, which taught him the ways of the world. Ishmael learned from his uncle that was the brother of Isaac. I mean, not Ishmael. Let me get it right here. Esau learned from his brother, his uncle Ishmael, because Ishmael was of this world. Ishmael was an Egyptian. He was born from an Egyptian mother, and his Egyptian mother found him an Egyptian wife, and he was raised like the Egyptians were raised. Ishmael taught Esau how to live. And he went out and married the Canaanites and all of them, and it broke his mother's heart. It really broke his mother's heart. Even though the young man, the older son here in this parable of the lost son, had stayed with his father, worked the fields, did what his elder son was supposed to do, but yet he lived in the world by marrying the women that God said not to marry, and he listened to his uncle Ishmael that taught him the ways of the world, taught him about other gods, taught him the things that he should not have known. So when it all come down, and his dad, this elder son that had stayed there, worked faithfully for his daddy, and he got mad. You know, when Israel come back, Esau's line got mad. They got mad because Israel was allowed to come back to their land that belonged to them and not Esau's people. And they got mad. Now Ishmael's people also got mad that they come down, because they're saying, oh, you're driving out our brothers from their land. This is their land. That's not your land. You're driving them out, and you're making them to go into camps and things, and Ishmael is suffering because of Israel and what you people of the world did. And the whole mess got angry over there because Israel come back to their promised land, and they had to do this for these events to happen. And he said unto his father, Lo, these many years do I serve thee, neither transgress I at any time thy commandments, yet thou never givest me a calf kid that I might make merry with my friends. It's like Isaac is over there stomping his feet and said, well, I stayed over in this land. I did what I was supposed to do. And you know, how dare you go out and kill the fatted calf and bring that son back here? How dare you give him the fatted calf? I deserved the fatted calf. I deserved it, not them. So the battle is on. But as soon as this thy son was come, which hath devoured thy living with harlots, and thus killed for him the fatted calf. He's saying, this younger son, Israel, was out there cavorting with the world, doing whatever they were doing with the harlots, partaking of themselves with the ungodly, and they get to come back and you kill the fatted calf for them? Why? Why would you do that? I'm not for sure if they're screaming at Yahweh or Allah, because see, they believe in Allah. They're Muslims. And he said unto him, Son, thou art ever with me. All that I have is thine. It was meant that we should make merry and be glad, for this thy brother was dead and is alive again, was lost and found. Israel, for around 2,000 years, were lost. They were dead, but now they're found. Ishmael is having a fit that they were brought back, and they were giving the land that Esau thought was his. And he's mad. He's furious that this would happen, that the world would intervene and let this people come back and give them a homeland. That Ishmael said, no, it's my homeland. You didn't go out and give me a homeland. You didn't give me a plot of land. That's what they're screaming right now. We want a plot of land. We want our own nation. We want it back. Why did you do that? Why did you give it to Israel? They were out there. They were gone. They were dead. They were lost. Why didn't you leave them out there and let us have the land? Why did you leaders of the country bring them back? And they're screaming to high heaven. Well, of course, the people of the world, the leaders of the country, are getting kind of, oh wow, what did we do? Maybe we did wrong, you know. Maybe, oh wow, what should we have done? Not calculating, he had sold his birthright to Jacob, the line of Israel. So therefore, what rights that they did have for that land were sold long ago by Esau, their fathers. And then, a deceptive way, Rebekah helped out of Jacob when he went in and, you know, she fixed the porridge and she did what he did what his mama told him. They put the hair and he did it, and then Jacob gave Esau's blessing to Jacob. He gave it. Now during Abraham's time to Ishmael, he had to take Ishmael, his son, and his concubine wife, the Egyptian lady, and drive her away out of the land that was promised. He had no rights to it. But God had said that he would become a mighty nation. So while Esau's people are sitting over there in the land of Israel, learning from his uncle's people, Ishmael, about the Muslim religion, about Allah, where this false prophet Muhammad come up and taught them. While they're over there, they're being taught again. You know, repeat of what happens. Again, they were taught from the line of Ishmael about the false god, the false religion, and they're thinking that this land is theirs, this country. The Temple Mount is there. That's why they built the Golden Dome up there. But when God brought back, moved upon the countries to bring back and let Israel establish her nation one more time in these last days, their kin, Ishmael and Esau's line, all hyperventilated. And they want them killed. They want them totally off of the face of the earth to never come back. Because in their thinking, that's their land. Jerusalem is supposed to be their city. The Temple Mount where God, I believe, took the dirt and formed the body of Adam from, and then breathed the breath of life on, was theirs. That because of Jacob's deception, because of Jacob people, Israel, not obeying what they should obey and lost that land for 2,000 years, they had no right to come back. That's the way they're thinking. So, as the line of Ishmael and the line of Esau, uncle and nephew coming together to go up against Israel for one last time to totally destroy the line of Jacob, destroy the line of Esau. Destroy the line of Isaac and Jacob. Destroy that line totally, 100%, so they won't have to ever fool with them again. That is why a great war over there is about to break loose. Excuse me. People, these are kin folks that is having a civil war amongst their own family. And one side of the family totally wants to demolish and wipe out the other side of the family because they want that land back, because they think they own it. That's why the Palestinians are having such a fit over there and wanting their land. And America is so stupid, they send Kerry over there to sign a peace treaty between these two relatives over a piece of land that God himself already gave to Israel many, many centuries ago, and that God gave back to Israel. And during the 6-Day War, they took it back against all odds, and they even took over the Temple Mount, which they did not take total possession of it. They were merciful to their brothers to let them have control over that mount, and they shouldn't have done it. They shouldn't have done it. They should have said, no, you can't have no part of the Temple Mount. It is ours. But for whatever reason, maybe they didn't feel like they were ready to go to that great war yet. Maybe God moved upon that general and said no. When some of them wanted to go over there and burn and destroy the Golden Dome, he said no and stopped them, because maybe it wasn't time for that war, but it's coming soon. And it's going to be one of the bloodiest, nastiest wars that you've ever seen. And yes, they will use nukes. There will be about 4.4 billion dead bodies laying across that land. And most of it will be Esau. And Ishmael laying over there. And then Israel will have to bury their own kin. Have to go out there in the desert and take the dead bodies of their kin. You see, they're kin. They're related. Ishmael had the same daddy as Israel had. Ishmael had the same daddy and mama as Jacob had. They're kin. They're brothers fighting against brothers. And Israel will have to bury her brothers after this great war happens over there. It will take them 7 years to bury the dead bodies 7 long years of constantly burying. And when you or I, as a visitor, go and we walk across the land and we see a skeleton of a human being, they will give us flags to carry along the way. And we go out there and we'll put that marker on near that body, so Israel, the ones that will bury the dead, will come out and see that flag and bury the body to clean the land. It is coming, people. A war in a family that will be unspeakable to the rest of the world. It's coming soon. Bless you on this first day of the week. Father, open the people's eyes to what is coming. Prepare their hearts that they will be able to be covered by your holy blood, Yeshua HaMashiach. That they will be in your ark and be covered. Oh, I ask this, that they will be prepared and preparing. And those that are called for the bride, stand strong. Stand strong in these last days. For much is coming. In the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen and amen.